Hey fam, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nwabi. If you're new to this channel, hey, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, what it do? So, as promised, I come to you with the first episode of Young and Purposed.
Hey.
And I have none other. Oh my god. This is my best friend, and the crowd goes wild. So, unfortunately, last week we had major technical difficulties. It was kind of crazy, actually, and I feel like I've been saying this often and making excuses every week, but we are here and we are doing it. Last week's episode will probably be the second week's episode. So, Kopano was supposed to be second, but clearly she's trying to be first all the time.
Because the last shall be first.
But if you are new to my channel, we are doing a series called Young and Purposed, and it's basically talking about purpose because I have struggled with purpose this whole year, and I wanted to hear from other young people in my life and where are they in this difficult time. So I'm gonna jump straight into it, but I want to introduce my best friend. You know, she's not only my best friend, she is an entrepreneur.
Apparently.
She is an entrepreneur, you guys. She's a mogul. She's doing such great things. You are.
I spice the chomi.
I can't even introduce this girl with like,
Sorry.
oh my god. But she's doing great things, you guys. Kopano is incredible. And look at her face.
Oh,
this is your next Miss Something, okay? But yeah, welcome.
Hey, girl.
Family, welcome her.
Hey, everybody.
And we're going to jump straight into it. So, I have 3 questions for Kopano, only 3 questions, and those are the 3 questions that I will maintain throughout the series.
Okay.
Because I want to hear the same questions, but different perspective.
Cool.
So, the big question, I'm going to jump straight into it. Okay.
Do I not get to say hi? Hi, guys. Did I?
You said hi a million times.
Sorry. I'm not used to this clearly.
Okay.
Sorry.
First question, Kopano. What is your purpose? And what are some of the internal battles and difficulties that you have faced? Like, just go wild. Just answer the question. What is your purpose?
Okay. Well, these are heavy chats. She didn't even give me a chance to breathe. Like, what are you doing with your life currently? But I think before I go into my purpose, let me like define purpose and the way that I've understood it, growing up. And basically it is the main core or reason why you were created. It is your heartbeat for everyday living. It is the essence of who you are as a person. So coming into my purpose, I really don't take lightly the power of names. And obviously this is not something that I jumped into growing up understanding and so forth, but I never understood why I was always connected or drawn towards people. And I believe that's the core of who I am as a person, being my name, being Kopano, meaning to unite, to bring together. And I don't take lightly that whether my mother was prophetic or not, or knowing and understanding naming me, was the fact that I grew up to understand that like I am born to be able to bring things together. So whether if it is an idea, I will be able to find a way to bring things together, whether it is people, whether it is family, whatever aspect or area of life. I think for me personally, the one thing that I've come to identify my purpose in began with my name, as it was in the beginning, like with God as well, that whatever He spoke into existence or whatever He created, He gave it a name and it became. So I believe that with the power that is in the name of what I've been given is part of who I am and what I'm purposeful.
Now, when I say she's great, this is what happens. Okay. Before we continue, I have another question to that. Such an incredible response. I hope you guys learned from that. We are in Kopano's home. The setting looks different. We're in her home. I'm probably going to be visiting my guests in their homes, and this I'm going to be shooting content so that they are comfortable. So, lovely. I just wanted to address that in case someone's like, where are you? I'm not where I normally am. But nonetheless, Kopano, this is your purpose. You bring people together. You bring forth ideas. What has been your journey to finding purpose? Because on this channel, we are trying to find ourselves. We're trying to become. We're trying to see where God is taking us. And the journey is not smooth. You know is to bring people together, but what did you go through to get there and understand that?
I don't even know where to begin with all of that, because it's been a minute and a half. I think for me, the journey began in the manner in which I got saved. And I got saved when I remember this very clearly, when I was 12 years old. And obviously, when you're 12 years old, you don't really know much. The only thing is that I understood that I was seeking for something that I couldn't even put my finger on. And it all began in my room. And I always tell people that I come across, and whoever I share my testimony with in life, is that it is so key and so important in our walk that you gotta know God for yourself. Because even the manner in which I got saved, I managed to understand that it was in the midst of Him finding me in my own space by myself that carried my relationship through until now, where I'm 25 years old, because I didn't identify Him through a person, but I identified Him through His nature in revealing Himself to me. So in my journey, obviously it was great as it began. I'm trying to understand, okay, who I am in God and so forth. But the key point in coming into purpose was having to lose myself. And that was the biggest thing for me. I always knew that, but it didn't hit until last year. And
what
last
happened?
year, yes,
tell the people.
So last year was the year that something birthed and died at the same time. And I think that is the beauty of purpose, because now that I'm saying this, God is reminding me of, even with Christ, that He was born or lived to die. Because in the midst of purpose, something is birthed for you and something needs to die at the same time. So in the midst of me growing up, I had always been, like I was even telling Nwabi, babe, that I've always been a person who always achieves, who's always center of shining or spotlight. Like I never struggled to get anything or do anything in life.
She in her undergrad degree was top. Like she beat everybody. She was like number one.
I don't know about beat everybody,
but you were number one. You're not the top student.
I mean, like just for third year. But that's besides the chat. But point is,
emphasize her journey.
Yes. So my point is that I've always been a person who's always been like at the peak of whatever they do, and we all have struggles in life, but it's never been to a point where it shakes me. You understand? And last year it shook. Nwabi knows. Not a lot of people do, because it's not a side of me that I like to share with everybody. But last year it shook and it broke me to the core. And that was me in the process of birthing my business. But for me to even get to the birthing of my business, I had come forth from an environment where it clicked in me that there is something here that I want to be able to do that is bigger and greater than me. And the only way that God opened my eyes for me to achieve what I want to do is only through entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship was nothing that I ever thought that I'd become my ideal. No ever meeting, like since I met Nwabi, so she knew that media was the place and the route that I wanted to go into. But God shook me and turned me into a direction that in the beginning I was very excited about. Like no doubt, because I was like, you know what, God, you said it, let's do this. But I didn't understand how much it would shake me. I didn't understand how much of myself I would lose.
What are the feelings you went through?
Very, very confused, because I think as much as we don't want to admit it, you get to a point where you're in God and you're very comfortable, because you know that like He's a God that answers prayers. So you're just used to things happening like, I got this. But when things didn't go my way, I was very disturbed in my spirit, where I thought that I had missed the mark, where I thought there is something that I'm doing wrong that no longer allows me to have the kind of favor that I used to have. That's why I'm not achieving in the manner that I used to achieve.
Sure.
And it was heartbreaking, but at the same time I could feel that the breaking had to take place because of the shifting that was coming forth into my life. So in that place, I understood that something in me had to break in order for me to birth something new. And I didn't understand that it would be in a point where I would literally completely not know what to do if God is not leading. Because I entered into an environment or into a space that I had no background knowledge of. But I remember there was a time that God gave me a word about being a fool for my glory. And understanding that being a fool for your glory, it means that like I will take the foolish things of this world, as he said, and shame the wise. So I'm going to place you in a place or in an industry or in an environment that you know nothing about, so that the ideas that are birthed in that place and in that moment are not those that have ever been seen before, but it is something new, that it is something divine, that is something heavenly that will shock the world. That's the only way that we can actually change things in this world. When we place ourselves in a manner and in a position that we allow God to be God, not coming with our experiences or knowledge, because when we do, we hinder him, because we're like, no, this is not the way it's done before. This is not the way it's been calculated this far. This is not the reasoning or the policies or the thinking. But for you to bring forth change, you need to come into a place. Anybody in history, for them to become who they were, they came into a place of knowing that this has never done before, but I will do it. So that's where God had to give me an understanding that the only way that you will succeed as an entrepreneur, for you to do the change that you want to do, you don't have to know it all. Wake up every day and submit yourself and say, I don't know, but you do. And you're the one living in me. So I still wake up every day making stupid mistakes, still thinking, why am I in this place? I don't think I'm the one that's supposed to be here, because I don't have the skill or the knowledge that I think is needed for this place. But I believe that because God, you gave me a word, because God, you gave me a vision, because God, you said, I'm here.
Cut the cameras. Done. That was so powerful. And this is something that in my channel I've started to do. I've been so open in talking about the fact that you don't have to have it all figured out. Every day is a journey of becoming who God has called us to become. However, we have to know who God says we are. And that's where you draw your identity from. So I'm sure when you are going through confusion, you have to remind yourself, who does God say I am?
Of course.
And draw your faith from that point. So that was incredible. My question to you, I've asked Kopano, what is her purpose? I've asked her, what has her journey been? I've asked her, what are the emotions that she felt when she was at the place where she was, confused? And I hope you guys have learned something. But I want her to tell you, who feels like you don't have a purpose. You feel, what am I doing here on earth? I'm not good at my 9 to 5. I'm not good at my job. I want to leave my career. She left corporate and she's an entrepreneur. Tell somebody who is in a space where they have to get out of, a space of darkness, because I've said it here on this channel, but I want to hear from another young person to another young person. What do you have to say to that?
I think the one thing that we always get wrong as people is that we're always seeking out to be perfectionists. And especially us as young people, because we're always looking around us and we see that the millennials are doing big things. There are so many things that young people are doing in this time and in our generation. But the moment I think that we always get it wrong, and where I also got it wrong, was like I started looking around me and I felt like, okay, I don't think I'm fitting in anymore, because people around me are making it big in corporate while I'm busy struggling as an entrepreneur. And I think the one thing that we need to start looking at is obviously identifying the place that you are in, and understanding that, like, okay, I'm not happy in the place that I'm in. But another thing that we need to do is that we need to stop going around and saying that this person is doing that, and therefore I don't know, like I'm good enough or whatever, for me to get to that place. But I think the one thing that we need to do is change perspective. You need to be able to see that as a way of like, it is possible, but for your journey, that it is possible, but for whatever you're called to do. Because the one thing, if somebody's making it big in corporate, or if somebody's making it big as an entrepreneur, but you're still trying to figure it out, you need to just then draw yourself in, because that's the one thing that we're always just trying to push. We never draw in. We never draw within ourselves to try and figure things out. We're always seeking outside. We're always seeking confirmation information or things to find our way
Comparing
outside,
ourselves.
comparing ourselves, but it's always an outward look, but we need to try and channel it in and change perspective inwardly. And the moment that I also started beginning to do that, where I looked inwardly and started understanding that, like, okay, as Kopano, that is a reference point of destiny for somebody else. That is a reference point of that is possible, but for somebody else. So therefore, whatever they're succeeding in, what is it that is inside of me that I can draw out and use that as an encouragement instead of a comparison?
Sure.
Yeah. So all I'm saying in a nutshell, is that is that look within yourself, draw it within.
Yeah.
Use people, but don't admire it as if like making you feel any less of who you are because of whatever they're doing. But use that as a reference point of what God is able to do in a person's life. Therefore, it can be done in your own life, but as a journey that is destined for you.
Sure. That's so powerful. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, girl.
My encouragement to you as well, I'm not going to add on, Kopano has said it all, but if you are feeling a bit lost, right, it's like Kopano saying, look within yourself. God has given you a gift. There is a purpose over your life, and I believe somehow we all know it.
Yes.
You know, we all know it, but because we're so looking to the left, looking to the right, we can't find it. So focus on God, focus on the thing that you know for sure He has called you into, and start to do it little, step by step small wins, small wins. And that's what we're doing. And we're not perfect. Like Kopano is saying, sometimes you make the stupid mistakes and you wake up feeling like, oh, why did I do that? But we draw ourselves back in ourselves like, who am I? You know, and you keep going from that point.
Yes.
And I hope that's encouraged somebody. I hope that you will go forth and spend time with yourself and realize who you are, and take the word of God, as I always say, and begin to declare it over your life, and begin to ask God for perspective about your purpose and who you are, and take the small steps and block out the people. Like, yes, look at people's life and as an admiration. Wow, God can do it for me as well, but don't compare it. Don't idolize people's lives. Walk out your journey and become who God has called you to become.
Before she closes off,
Okay.
I just want to say I'm proud of you.
Oh no.
Because I know, I'm sure people have already started knowing your journey bits by bits, but I know that this has not been easy for you to come into purpose and alignment with what the word God gave you. But I am proud of you for, answering the call. I'm proud of you for stepping out, no matter how difficult it has been, to share your life with somebody else. And I have no doubt that there is somebody out there that is going to take this moment, and one day you will meet them, and they will meet you and say, because of this word and this channel and this series, there is something that is birthed inside of me, and I'll forever be grateful. Can be 5 months from now or 10 years from now, but that moment will come. What you're doing now, you're sowing a seed, and it is not going in vain in heaven. Yeah.
With that said, goodbye, guys. Tune in next week. We have another amazing guest, and the conversation continues. Mwah. Till next time.
I don't know why I did that.
I don't know why I did that. But comment, like, subscribe, tell me your thoughts, and follow Kopano on her social media.
Apparently, yeah.